Hey, this is Daniel.
And this is Mark from Nothing More.
And you are watching and listening to Linea Rock.
Hi Mark, hi Daniel from Nothing More. Welcome to Milan and welcome to Linea Rock.
No, thank you. We're happy to be here.
Good. It's actually the second time you're coming in our studios, so thanks again for taking the time to talk to us.
Yeah.
Let's start from the great news. You got 3 2018 Grammy nominations, and this happens for the first time ever. Even more than Metallica and Foo Fighters ever did. So that's a great goal. The nominations are for Best Rock Album for The Stories We Tell Ourselves, Best Rock Performance for Go to War, and Best Rock Song again for Go to War. Is this just another great goal reached for the band, or you leave it as a new start with a focus on the future?
It's definitely always been a goal, The Grammys are something that's always been there, and I just don't think any of us thought it would come like right now,
Okay.
It just always seemed like this future thing that, at some point we're going to magically arrive and boom, we'll be at the Grammys and have a nomination or two. But we were literally all asleep in the van 2 days ago, crossing into the Czech Republic, going to play Prague when we get a call from our manager, and I was still asleep. I kind of overheard Mark on the phone, and I hear 3 Grammy nominations, and I'm just like, what? And I didn't want to celebrate that because I was still too tired. But once I finally woke up, and once we all kind of finally woke up, it's insane, to have 3 and to kind of, our phones are exploding and our emails are exploding. It seems like people we knew in kindergarten and haven't seen since are calling us and texting us, congratulating us.
Yeah, great.
It's remarkable though, and it really, it's cool to kind of be exalted into this realm with the Foo Fighters, bands we've just held on pedestals our entire life,
right.
And Metallica. It's insane for us.
So you actually couldn't imagine it to happen back in the early days when you very first started the band, or you've always been thinking big and it will be.
Yeah, definitely always been thinking big. It just you never know what that actually looks and feels like.
Okay.
You figure you would buy a Ferrari before you win a Grammy kind of thing, and and it's cool to. We're just out here touring and loving what we're doing, and then we get the call, and it's like, whoa, right now, 3 Grammys, all right.
And actually, did you figure out why now is it happening? I mean, it's like, is this also for you a special moment, and this is the perfect timing, for something like this to happen? What do you think?
I'd say, yeah. We're all extremely proud of this record and very happy with how Go to War is done. It just hit #1 on the rock charts in the U.S. So we all definitely believed in it. But once again, it was a complete surprise. And like Dan was saying, I don't think we probably didn't expect it. But not to say that we couldn't have gotten it.
Yeah.
It's just, we're just floored and honored. So honored.
As you mentioned, Mark, the brand new album, The Stories We Tell Ourselves, has been an immediate, major success, also in the charts. Feels like, Nothing More are becoming a sort of mainstream, even if you've always had, a strong, independent and alternative connotation. Is it a kind of risk for you, or you leave it as like a conquer and that, will never change your nature?
I'd say the latter, the conquer, for sure. We're happy to get exposed to more and more people. We believe in our songs, and we write about stories that have changed our lives and that touch us and that means so much to us. And I know from growing up what music has meant to me and songs that made me cry and move me and pump me up.
Yeah.
And I feel so honored and special to be able to bring that to more and more people. Music is so powerful like that, and it's an honor to serve it.
What do you remember of the early days? Did you form the band with a pure artistic aim, or you've always, do this for a living? Like, yes, we want to be musicians and rock stars.
Yeah, I actually wasn't in the band at its very early stages. I joined in 2005, which was still a very long time ago.
Yeah.
But we've always wanted to do this for a living. And even when the band, I've lived with Mark right before I joined the band, and I kind of got to see the heart of the guys before I decided to take the plunge and commit. And that was always just kind of the feeling. It's like, let's do it, let's conquer, let's go out and make this our livelihood, And I think the strength we've always had is just trying to blend both like the purest of artistic integrity and vision, but also put it in a way, like we've always wanted to share music, to write for not only ourselves, but for an audience.
Yeah.
And that's always been the focus of the band, and that's always been the challenge of songwriting is, I think some of the greatest songs in the world are those that push, they push things musically and artistically, but also anybody can get into it. And it just, no matter if you know what the words they're singing or anything, you get the feeling, and it pumps you up. And that's kind of always been our goal.
Ben is actually the third drummer, and you've changed vocalist 4 times in 15 years. Actually, Johnny started as a drummer of the band, then switched to lead vocals in 2008. How and why that transformation happened, and was that simply a need, to get him as a lead vocalist because you couldn't maybe find the perfect fit? How did it work?
Well, after that many singers, I was actually the first singer of the band. And I think I went away for the summer and I got an email from Johnny. And it was like, you should focus on guitar. And I was gutted. And then Dan was actually in lineup to be singer with Johnny after.
I tried out too.
But to focus on the point, we had always just had other singers before, and we were so adamant and focused more on the melodies and on the lyrics than a lot of the times they were. And there was just something, I think, more so in Johnny than the rest of us that really made him want to be the front man and want to be the singer. And he also had the best voice out of the 3 of us, to be honest.
Yeah.
But so it was interesting that just the switch, and then we started looking for other drummers.
Yeah.
I don't know. Really, the spirit of the band is always to kind of like the song "Don't Stop." We've been through a lot of obstacles. Our story has transpired, and you just have to push through a lot of those things, regardless. Even if you don't see the way out. Yeah. I remember that happening, and it's like, oh man, how is this? I know it's gonna work, but I don't quite know how.
Yeah. And do you think that Johnny actually expresses himself better as a frontman, or it's a kind of continuation, of something that started with the drums and is just an extension, How do you see that?
I think with this record especially, he's kind of totally flipped into singer mode.
Okay.
He's just been kind of slowly transitioning. He does play. We do have a metal drum set at the front of the stage that he plays live, and he can still get behind a drum set.
That's the additional drumming that you mentioned.
Yeah,
okay.
exactly. He still rips at drums, but really with this record, this record was the first record. The Stories We Tell Ourselves is the first record that he didn't play drums at all on.
Okay.
He didn't write any of the drum parts.
Right.
We have a new drummer, Ben Anderson, who's just a member of the family now, and so Johnny was actually able to come in and just sing and not think about drums. And I think it really kind of set him free from it and kind of opened his mind up to a whole new level of creativity. But now that he's just a singer, he's sleeping later and getting more demanding with the rider and things like that.
Okay.
I'm just kidding.
Okay, so you've been rejected by multiple labels, but you never gave up. That always happens, to the big ones. The story says, just to name, one big name, the Rolling Stones, and in the beginning of their career has been, rejected. Because the business maybe doesn't recognize immediately, talent and the potential of a rock band. Is that, in your opinion, a positive thing in the end? Because maybe that way you had the chance to develop your style with more freedom. And when you reached, finally the deal, the contract, you had a strong character already. So you knew that you reached it because of your nature. So what do you think about that?
I think you're exactly right. It's having gotten all of those no's, we wouldn't have had that time to continue to better our art and grow and become smarter. And in the same way of, like you mentioned, the Rolling Stones and bands like Linkin Park,
yes,
too, that so many no's. And I think it's not that it was just a no from all these labels. It was more like, these guys are good, but I don't know what to do with this.
Okay.
It's a little different. I don't know where to put it, what bands, how's it going to work?
Which is strange because, you had to actually sign somebody that you don't have. So if it's something new, maybe you have more chances, to fill, some gaps. I don't know.
Yeah,
it's weird.
I would think, but yeah. No, but
maybe they think differently.
yeah, marketing people, I guess. But it's definitely also good for direction. Like if getting all those no's kind of helped us understand like what yes even means, kind of thing.
Okay,
and
that's a good point.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, it's definitely better that we didn't. Let's say if we had gotten signed like 5 years ago, it might have been with the wrong person and we're locked into a contract that could have just sank our career immediately or we fizzle out. So, if it's not the right time, it's better to just go with that than to force it because I can't tell you what a perfect deal we ended up landing. Like with 11/7, all the timing was just absolutely perfect. Even though it took what seemed like forever to get there, I couldn't imagine a better way than how it all happened and, who we became in the process and them as a label partner and everything else. It's just, it all happened perfectly.
So all the pieces are going to their places, 3 Grammy nominations. So,
yeah.
Who knows what will be next?
I know. Maybe a free trip into space. That's what I'm hoping for. SpaceX sponsorship.
Good. And what's behind the inspiration of the name of the band, which is, very intriguing, and is the very first meaning and idea still, represents the band, or it evolved in a sense through the years?
I'd say it's still true to its core and its origin. I do remember Johnny and I in like 2001 or 2, I guess, just joking about being called Nothing.
Okay.
Because we could never agree on a name. And it just kind of kept going. And so let's just be Nothing. And then he had gotten this idea of like, well, what if we're nothing more? Mm-hmm. Something special to us was going to shows and seeing these bands on and off stage and realizing that, wow, man, a lot of the times it's like, man, these bands are just as real as they are on stage and off stage, and they're really nice and considerate to their fans. They care a lot. And then when you see a band that you love and then you realize that they're jerks, that they don't have time for their fans, it crushes your spirit, and a lot of the times makes you not even like the music anymore. So in us, that it's a constant reminder to be real on and off stage. And hey, we're all people. We're all enjoying music. It's changed us all. It continues to change us. And if anything, we're nothing more than dudes that like music, and we're happy to spread it.
And do you know that the new series of storytelling bestseller books by Anna Todd is also called Nothing More. Did you know about it? It came last year. It came out, so you didn't know. And she's actually a music lover, so maybe you never know. You've been like an influence on her.
That's cool. I had no idea.
Yeah, we'll have to look that up.
Where's she from?
California, Los Angeles. Yes.
Okay.
So
that's cool.
Good. Okay, check that out.
Yeah. Thanks.
The title of the new album, which we already mentioned, The Stories We Tell Ourselves, is intriguing as well as the name of the band. And now is it actually happening the opposite thing. Lots of people actually are listening to those stories. So how do you leave that? And why that title in this precise moment? You felt that maybe you were just playing for yourselves or whatever. What is it?
I'd say that phrase it's a commonly used phrase. A lot of the times it's like if it's a recreating the story you tell yourself or whatever. Sometimes that can be bad for you. A lot of the times, the story I told myself 10 years ago is very different than the story I tell myself now regarding religion, politics, everything.
Yeah.
Our beliefs change as we mature. So even in these songs and these stories that we, write and talk about, it's I don't know, they're very special, and we know that it will mean something different to everybody. Everyone has their own interpretation. But that title, I know, really sunk into us as a special thing. I don't know. You care to add?
Yeah. It's just about perspective, really, and it's so funny since we titled the album. I find myself titling like thoughts in my head, so many times, like, well, at least that's the story I tell myself, I'm this or that, or, and a lot of times it does come down to that, just it's always good to really put into perspective, like, the truth about what you believe, whether it be about other people or about situations, or about yourself, and trying to get to the bottom of it and getting at least as close to the truth as you possibly can, because the story, there's so many times that we fall under false illusions, and a lot of those are about yourself. I think that's one thing that causes a lot of depression in people and a lot of feelings of worthlessness or guilt or things like that, is because people get stuck in this kind of like feedback loop of them telling themselves this story over and over about themselves, that they're bad, or they're reliving a situation where they didn't do the right thing, and then that's the only thought they have about who they are anymore, and it kind of changes them for the worse, when the truth of the situation is everybody makes mistakes, and if you can tell yourself a positive story, a lot of times it leads to positive outcomes and things like that. But that's kind of how the title rang most true for me anyway.
You are very much organic and real as a band, but you stated that films have inspired a lot of your songwriting. Can you explain exactly what you mean by that? Because you were just, talking about real stories that, So, but you also mentioned films, so it's quite interesting.
We try not to limit ourselves into only being inspired by, music, but by obviously every aspect of life that we all are.
Okay.
Film and books, they change the way you think. They can really make an impact on your life. Movies like Clockwork Orange or personal favorite of mine. It's a little smaller, but it really moved me. The movie Finding Neverland. It's just about the kind of how Peter Pan, that book, was written, and it's so sad. But honestly, to touch on this band Thrice, I think something that really moved us was several of their songs are like titles to C.S. Lewis books and everything, and that really got us thinking differently. Like, songs don't only have to be about this one thing. They can be about movies. They can be about lots and lots of different things.
Yeah, but when I watch like the movie V for Vendetta, for instance, like there's one of the final scenes, when all the buildings are blowing up, and I don't know. That's like an inspirational thing to me because at that point in the movie, you're totally into the story and like into this like revenge thing.
Okay.
And then, you add the visual to it and it's just like one of the greatest feelings on earth, watching those buildings explode in that like moment of personal rage. And I think with music, even without the visual, you can really capture that. And I think that's a big way that we're inspired to always, have the right lyrics and the right meaning with the right music and let it all kind of push you into that moment of rage and enlightenment and freedom.
Good.
So,
do you usually work on lyrics first, music, a combination of both? It's because your music is very intense, so and it seems that comes full circle. The lyrics and the arrangements, everything. So, is it something that come together or?
That's always the end goal, that it all makes sense, that it all does come together. Sometimes it does start with a lyrical concept, just a conversation that really inspires us and that we feel passionate about. A lot of other times it's a guitar riff, or it's Johnny will program something strange, like the song Christ Copyright on our last record was written because Johnny took an older guitar part of a song, flipped it or reversed it, and put a beat to it, and that turned into the siren type of sound that you hear in Christ Copyright.
Okay.
So just we try not to limit ourselves with how songs are created. It keeps you fresh, and who knows what the end possibility might be. It doesn't always have to start from the same spot.
And back to the movies thing. Did you ever work on a film score? And in that case, which director or type of movie you'd like to compose for?
We never have. That would be amazing to do, that's for sure.
We need a little more time for that, but yeah.
Nice, yeah. But we did with Go to War, actually, it was used in the trailers for War on the Planet of the Apes. And that alone was really neat to see our song and see, Caesar and, what's the actor's name? Woody Harrelson. Yeah. Okay. Just on the big screen and hear our song behind it. That was pretty crazy. And it definitely, guys like Trent Reznor, I know he's done multiple movies now, just doing the score. So that would be definitely something we'd be excited about in the future.
I read that for the previous album, Nothing More, you composed 40 songs in 2 years, taking your time to have a lot of material to choose from and squeezing the best out of you. Is this the usual process for you to make a record that, sound as good as a major label release as you stated?
Yeah, I think it varies. For that record, we did have a lot of material and a lot of things that didn't fully pan out, and you get like 2/3 through a song and you just kind of know sometimes it's like, I don't think this one's going to work. Let's go back to the drawing board. For this last record, I think it was way more efficient. We ended up with, probably like 10 extra kind of complete ideas.
Okay.
That it's kind of nice that we can start, we're still happy about a lot of those songs too. So we can have a starting place to keep refining for the next record.
Okay.
But yeah, a lot of times you just got to keep writing, and you got to know when to quit too. You can't really squeeze any juice out of a rock, and sometimes the song just doesn't rock, or it is a rock. Yeah. It doesn't rock. Anyway, I don't know what I'm trying to say.
About the duet with Jacoby Shaddix of Papa Roach in Don't Stop, which is absolutely brilliant. How this collaboration happened and how much of Jacoby is in there?
Yeah, Jacoby's probably only there for about 20-25 seconds or something like that. I wish it was more, but everything came so last minute. We had already had all of the sound recording for the song, and that's the one you hear on the album. But we were going to shoot the video, and we had, through doing festivals together, we talked to him, become friends, and we always talked about, it'd be really cool to collaborate. And I think Johnny just reached out on a whim to say, hey, we're going to be in California shooting this video. Would you be interested in collaborating? And he was free. He was able to do it, and they talked about, okay, the bridge in the song would be cool if you spitfire some Jacobiness onto there.
Jacobiness, yes.
Yeah. And I remember he called Johnny back, and he was like singing the melody over the phone, and it was like, yeah, that sounds good. Yeah, those lyrics are cool. And, we kind of went with it, and we were actually recording the video, and the sound audio came after that. So he was actually singing to stuff that wasn't there, which is kind of funny.
Yeah, so it's a good thing he didn't, or we're hoping he didn't change any of the lyrics. I haven't, gone back and studied his mouth movements yet to see if any of it changed. But, yeah, no, it turned out perfect. And he's an awesome guy.
Yeah.
Just anytime you're around him, I don't know.
Lights up your day.
It does, for sure.
And are Papa Roach among your influences? And did you stick actually to the original inspiration through the years, or they have been, expanding and growing along with your style?
Definitely growing. I remember learning the
Last Resort.
Yeah, Last Resort on guitar.
That's a great
when I
riff.
first heard it. Yeah. So that was awesome. We've always been fans of their band, for sure.
Do you have any other major influences that you can mention, or it's?
Yeah, like Metallica for me, or Incubus is a big one. We all really like Thrice and their lyrical approach, for sure. Dustin Kensrue brings.
Muse is a big influence. Led Zeppelin's a big influence too. All the classics. I'm trying to think if there's another. Dredge is another huge influence. I don't know if you've heard of them. They're California-based, kind of avant-garde rock, but I don't know. There's a lot of influences.
Okay.
For sure.
Okay, last question for today. You're playing Milano for the third time in Italy tonight. And so what kind of experience is a Nothing More live performance? Is it nothing more than what you can expect, or there actually more when, you see the band live?
That's funny. I'd say just come to be entertained. We know that, we're performers. A lot of times bands forget that, and they just play their songs and then they go home. And to us, it's an experience and doing something different. Even changing some aspects of songs live to make it special. Come to jam and sing your heart out, and see some stuff that you probably wouldn't normally see on stage.
Yeah, we definitely give it our all. And when people go to the show, whether it's the performance aspects, like our bass solo, the drum solos, all these weird things on stage, or just the amount of emotion and energy we put into it, it's really all of us. So there's nothing left when we get off the stage. We give it everything.
Okay. Thanks very much for your time, guys, and thanks for your music. And again, congratulations for your 3 Grammy nominations, and let's hope actually to win one. Okay?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, thank you so much. See you next time.
Thanks.
Ciao.
Ciao.